Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. It's Mr. Hunterline here. All right, guys. So today, well, first of all, one of the most frequent questions I get asked, right, is how much do you charge for your services, right? And that's a very, very loaded question because there are so many different styles of pickups, deliveries, and so forth, right? Hunterline Express, my company, I offer standard deliveries. I offer hauling services, furniture assembly, and then I also offer route driving, and then I do a few other things here and there. So every situation is different, right? Now, keep in mind that I'm in the New York City metro area, right? I service New York City, New Jersey, Westchester County, which is our home base, Long Island, Fairfield County. So, in that region, right? So the premium in this area is relatively high. So as you guys see how I calculate my deliveries, I love for you guys to get into the comments. Tell me if you think I should have charged more, charge less. Tell me exactly what you would charge in your respective region because I want to get this conversation going because there's going to be a lot of debate. With that said, what I calculate is the weight of the item, whether I am involved in the labor, like the loading and unloading of the truck, definitely the distance, the cost of gas, and if there's any kind of toll associated with the full task. Now, right now, I think I'm in Red Hook, Brooklyn, or something like that. I'm not even familiar with any of this, but I think I'm in Red Hook, Brooklyn. I drove about 7 miles to get to this spot. It took me 15 minutes, and I made anywhere between 70 to $100. Now, I'm gonna show you guys the video of the full delivery, and then I'm gonna have like a little snippet of what my thoughts are and what the charges are going to be. So let's have some fun with this. Let's get the conversations going, and I'll keep you guys informed. Let's figure out how much I charge for these deliveries. All right. All right, guys. So I told you guys after each delivery, I'm going to chat it up a little bit about the price. And I'll kind of go fast, but sometimes speaking too fast, can do an injustice if you really don't understand what I'm talking about. But so let's just do a little stats, right? So it took me 5 dead miles to get to the pickup site. Dead miles are miles that you travel within your vehicle to get to a site and you're not paid for it. All right. That's what dead miles are. So if you drive in 50 miles to pick up something, you put 50 miles on your car and you get paid for it. I actually drove 5 miles to get to this site, which was pretty good. And then I drove 2 miles to the drop-off site, to the small little construction area that you guys will see in the photos and in the video. Altogether, It took a total of 30 minutes, 10 minutes to load up, right, with the high power vehicle, and then 20 minutes to unload. Now, if you watching the unload, you can actually see me getting involved in doing the labor. Okay. Each of those bags of concrete was 80 pounds, and that was some work. If I had to do that by myself, I'll be sweating bullets, back all sore. But I actually had a couple helpers, so they made everything a lot easier. Now, this is a big essential, right? We're talking about concrete that's going to a construction site. I don't need to tell you what concrete does. You guys know what that is, but is really essential for their functions of the day, which means the value of it is very high. It's not like they needed it on Friday. They needed it right then and there. Altogether, the total weight of the pallet was 1,700 pounds. I usually don't go anywhere over 2,500 pounds on my truck, but 1,700 pounds was a good number for me. If I had to price this, I would price this anywhere from $75 to $100. Remember, I'm not an Uber. Okay, I'm not picking up people to go to the airport or go down to the local bar. I'm actually using my self-employed vehicle to pick up products, drive down a highway, unload, and essentially fulfill their needs for their construction site. So if you would take $30 to $40, man, you would be doing yourself an injustice. I got paid for this one between $75 to $100, and I only drove 7 miles and 30 minutes of work. So that's my price for that. All right. All right, guys. So I got a short video for this one. So this one is considered route driving. And this is when you pick up something from one site and you do various stops. All right. People do this all the time. Amazon does it. Home Depot does it. It's actually very, very common. It's for companies to utilize drivers and try to pay a lump sum of money to get various things done. And companies save a ton of money by doing that. And the drivers essentially get a little bit more um, money during these cases. You know, in my situation, right? I'm not that much of a fan of this. You know, between picking up at the site, dropping off at the site, it was a combination of 52 minutes that way, 45 minutes that way, traffic. I've also dealt with a very, very expensive toll of paying $15. And then as I'm driving, when you're doing these route drives, you have to be committed to that delivery, right? You can't stir left or right and try to do something else when you know this delivery, there's a timestamp on this, which causes a problem. Now, throughout this specific delivery of the route drive, I kept getting requests of higher revenue to complete. Now, I had to reject those because I'm already into the route drive. And that's kind of where the lines cross. I'm not saying route drives are bad, but I'm saying for me and how I want to generate more revenue at my rate, this may not be the best option. Now, the responsibilities of this task is picking up at site A, dropping that load at site B, and then taking whatever is at site B and bringing it back to site A. So it's like a back forth, back forth. Now, if I had to put money on anybody doing that, especially if it's covering about 30 miles and going into Manhattan with the toll, I would charge, this is for me, I would charge anywhere from $130 to $175. Now, again, you have to think about what your worth is and what are the liable issues that you're going to deal going into Manhattan. You have traffic cops, no parking, hazardous risks for accidents with the Ubers and the bikes. I can go on and on and on and on. But when you're doing route drives, you have to make sure that every mile that you drive is making sense. So if I had to do this laundry one, I would say I would put this one between 130 and 175. I would be right in that 150, $150 range. All right, that's my price for that. All right, guys. So let's talk briefly about the last delivery that I showed you guys a video of. In this delivery, I was delivering 17 gallons of paint buckets from Sherwin-Williams, located in Brooklyn, New York. The total weight was 845 pounds, and the total distance to get to the location from where I was and then all the way to the drop off was 7 miles, which is huge. The total time of everything was 1 hour, and everything was in Brooklyn. So very similar to the first delivery that I did today with the concrete. This one is different because this one is 845 pounds with help. The other one was 1,700 pounds with help as well. If I had to price this delivery, I would price it somewhere between $75 and $125. Now, I can see somebody jumping in and say, hey, 150, it's 17 gallons. I can see that. But the key for this one is that the distance was extremely, extremely low. The labor, okay, all right. But we definitely had help at the beginning. So, just on the modest side, 75 to 100. If somebody charged $50 for this delivery, I wouldn't be mad at them. It's only 1.2 miles, which is essentially, I don't know, man, 15 minutes away. So I wouldn't be upset with them by that. But for me, a seasoned vet, experienced in doing this, $75 would be the minimum that I would charge for this delivery. All right, thanks. All right, guys, so let's wrap this thing up. Today was all about how I price all of my moves and all of my deliveries. Now, one thing to note is that in this business, in this industry, every day is different. So it would be impossible to try and make the same amount of money each day. I mean, what a luxury that would be, right? So, and let me pull out my book because I know I'm going to forget something. So, I price my deliveries on weight. So, how heavy is the freight? The total distance. What is the distance of carrying the freight from point A to point B? Labor. Now, in today's video, you guys got to see me do a lot of labor. I mean, I was lifting up cement, I was carrying laundry, and then I had to unload 17 buckets of whatever Sherman-Williams had in that specific order. But not every day is like that. Sometimes I have the trucks come or the workers come and unload, but you know what? Today was one of those days where I had to get involved into the trenches. I also charge on wait time. Now, if you know anything about this business, a lot of things are unorganized and a lot of people just simply do not do their job. So if I call you and I say, hey man, I'm 5 minutes away, don't forget to have 2 of your guys come and unload the truck. 5 times out of 10, they're not gonna have the 2 guys waiting at the site to unload the truck. So, you know, that's something there. And that would always add to the wait time. And then the last thing I charge is the fuel and the vehicle costs. Now, this one to me, today was a very local delivery. I was in Brooklyn, I was in Manhattan, I wasn't in Long Island, I wasn't in Staten Island, I wasn't upstate. So this one was relatively local, if you understand what I'm saying. So today's fuel costs about 20 bucks. And then the other thing, when you are entering Manhattan, especially below 60th Street, you have to charge what I call a premium because they charge every driver $9. I'm a commercial truck, commercial vehicle, so they charge me a whopping $15. So you guys can do the math. So whenever I'm pricing something, I think about those essential things, and that's how I kind of go about how I make my pricing. I do include the vehicle expenses, but that's based on my hourly rate. So it would be my hourly rate plus my expenses. My goal essentially is to make $65 an hour. All right. That's kind of where I am in this market, in this economy, right? I'm really like an $85, $90 kind of guy, but I stick around $65 because that essentially is what a lot of people can afford. And that's usually where I get more yeses than nos, if you know what I'm saying. Get down in the comments if you charge more or you aim for more or less in certain deliveries. I definitely would like to know, where you guys like to price your hourly wage. So yeah, man. So essentially, guys, when you guys are pricing yourselves, it's important. Don't sell yourself short. I guarantee you, in my business or any other business where you're a babysitter, dog walker, transporter like myself, you work your ass off. And a lot of people will try to, undermine you or try to lowball you in prices. It's your choice if you want to decide to accept it or not. And all right, guys, that's all I had to say. I had a blast. If you guys like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, man. I'm all about empowering that young, money hungry bunch of entrepreneurs, and definitely looking to build my own personal ecosystem. And I'm still trying to do it the right way by trying to build as much wealth as I can. All right, guys, till next time. Peace.